sit in the middle seat there, my friend. Yep. If I can have your attention here in the media center, we are going to go ahead and roll into our post-race media availability here at Michigan International Speedway, and we're going to start with Mark Rushbrook of Ford, who has won the Michigan Heritage Trophy here at Michigan International Speedway. Mark, incredible accomplishment today from an incredible driver. Walk us through how important this is from Ford Motor Company and Ford Performance.
Yeah, this is our home track in the backyard of Ford Motor Company, and it's really important for us to perform well in front of all of our employees, the company, our executives, and all their families. It's a big deal for us. We brought 1,100 employees and their families out here to watch the race today. Great support from all of our senior management here to watch the race today and celebrate in the performance and the victory.
Outstanding. We will open the floor up for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We will get a wireless microphone to you. We got a question over here on our left, please.
Thank you. Whoa, thank you. Between having the Wood Brothers come in here on Friday with Paul Menard, talking about all the engineers, bringing in all the Ford family, this must have been a great weekend for your company in general. Edsel Ford came out. This must have been a real Ford celebration.
Yeah, Ford is a family company for sure, and having Edsel Ford support us as much as he does, and Bill Ford and all of the Joe Hinrichs, all the senior executives at the company, and it's part of why we're in racing, because Henry Ford won a race in sweepstakes, and it started the company. So it's important for us to be on track, to be racing, to be using it for real innovation and tech transfer and learning that makes our road cars better, and to have the employees come out here and be able to see what we do firsthand and to see the results on track. It means a lot to everybody in the company.
We'll go over to the right to Jerry Jordan.
Mark, Jerry Jordan, kickingthetires.net. 4 in a row, I believe, for you guys here.
4 in a row.
How big is that for a company as Ford to be here in your backyard, but also to send that message to Chevrolet and to Toyota?
Yeah, we want to win every race, but we definitely want to win here at Michigan, and to have that Heritage Trophy, we display it proudly. It will go back and be in Dearborn first thing in the morning for our executives to see there. We'll put it on display for our employees to see. And it's kind of neat the way the trophy works, that you bring it back out here and give it back at the beginning of the race, and it's kind of nice when you take it back again at the end of the race. So to be able to do it 4 races in a row, we just want to keep that streak going.
Okay, we'll head up next to the press box, and we'll come back down.
One question, Wolfgang Manze from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. You said just a minute ago you learned from racing, when I understood it correctly, to make your road cars better, especially from NASCAR. What kind of technology goes into the road car business?
Yeah, so there's a lot of examples of that. As you know, there's no parts that are on the race car that go directly onto the street car from NASCAR, but the technology, the engineering processes that we use, I could sit here for a couple hours if you want to talk that long, but at a high level, it's the engine analytical tools that we use to design and develop our engines for our road cars and our race cars. Those are the same tools. So by stressing those analytical tools in the racing environment to make them even better, that ends up making our road car engines better. Same thing for Aero CFD, which is our computational fluid dynamics tool. We use the same tool on our road cars and our race cars, and same thing, we're stressing that tool, making it more precise, more accurate in what we do with racing, that ends up making our road cars better for their aerodynamics performance or airflow for cooling. And then the final area is in the vehicle dynamics and the simulation that we use, and especially the vehicle dynamics, the driving simulator. We have 2 of those now at our tech center in North Carolina. We use those same 2 simulators for working on our road cars, for our future road cars. Instead of using prototypes, we're able to do the development work in the simulators, reduces number of prototypes, makes the end product better to make our road cars better. So there's a lot of examples like that, and it's pretty meaningful to have the racing team to be able to win on track, but also know that we're making our road cars better at the same time.
Come down here to Mike.
Congratulations, Mark. if you're going to win one, you want to win the August one, right? So you can carry this thing through to next year.
Well, November's pretty important too.
Oh,
but
there
yeah.
you go. You get that one too. But also, is there anything that makes this a Ford track? I mean, you guys have been so dominant here the last couple of years, and even before that, you guys have been really good out here.
Yeah, I think of all the active tracks on the circuit, we've got 38 or now 39 wins here at Michigan. I think it's just a combination of the power and fuel economy, which is a testament to Doug Yates, Roush Yates, and the engine team, and the use of our analytical tools to optimize the engine for the power that you need, and the fuel economy, as we saw today with what Kevin was able to do and the Stewart-Haas team. So yeah, it's strong for us.
Mark, congratulations on the triumph today. Oh, sorry. Let's head down to Lee.
Thank you so much. Can you give us an update on the Gen 7 and how you guys are looking at it and what that project is, where you sit with the project right now?
Yeah, we continue to be excited about the new car for 2021 and the relevance that's going to be put into it to make it even closer to our road cars with the body, with the suspension. I think that NASCAR has done a great job in the leadership of that, including the right partners to help with the design and development of that, engaging all of the OEMs, all of the teams. So there's a lot of positive momentum behind it right now. We think it's going to be a great race car. I think it's going to look great, race great, and we're excited to get racing that in 2021. But we got a lot of racing between now and then. Thank you.
Mark, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
We will now go ahead and continue our post-race media availabilities. We're joined by our race-winning crew chief, Rodney Childers. Thanks for joining us, Rodney. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Please raise your hand and we will get a mic over to you. We'll go over here to the right to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, kickinthetires.net. Two out of the last three, last fall, this fall, the second race here. What is it? Is it something about this particular time of the year for you guys here at Michigan, or is it just you guys are clicking all together?
Well, I think, or not, but there he goes. To be honest, we love coming to Michigan. We love this racetrack, and I think if you look at the history of the 4-car, we've been fast here every time we've ever came. So, we had a great car here in the spring. Of my own doing, we had too much left front camera in the car in the spring, and never could put ourselves in position to lead the race because every time a caution come out, we had to put 4 tires on our car when other guys were putting 2 on. So, the biggest thing coming back was to fix that problem and to try to, hit some more details and try to make the car a little bit better. But overall, it's the same car that we ran here last time, and it didn't hardly have a scratch on it last time. And to be honest, I was a little disappointed that it was only on the body plate for like half a day. And I'm like, surely to God they didn't get everything done to that thing in a half a day. That you try to continually make your cars better and update them, and it was good, and it's been fast all weekend, and everybody on the 4 team just did a great job of, like I said, hitting those details all weekend.
We'll go over here to your left to Roy, and then we'll go up to the press box.
Yeah, Rodney, I heard Kevin say in a post-race interview that basically felt like he could drive anywhere on the track. Did you feel like that for a long run that would play into your hands to overtake Joey and get some clean air?
Yeah, I mean, the racetracks that have multiple grooves are just good for us. I'll be completely honest. If it's got 4 grooves, it's good for our race team, and it just gives you so many options to be able to move around. And with this year's package, you need to try to get some clean air on your nose and to keep the car turning. And we started the race too tight, and then we ran over something, had a flat tire, and drug the splitter down a little bit, and then it was just plowing tight after that. So we really had to change the car a lot throughout the race and try to make it better. And but we started that last run and was actually a little bit too loose, and that's really what we needed. We needed to start too loose and to be able to be good on the long runs. And once we got to like second or third, he did a great job of just being able to run through 1 and 2 wide open and making a lot of ground on those guys.
We'll go ahead and take that question in the press box.
Yeah, Wolfgang Monser from Germany Rennsport Press Agency. First of all, congratulations. I have a question concerning fuel consumption. I think there's so many unknown factors before you go to race, driving behavior or style of the driver, caution, etc., etc. Nevertheless, is there a technically possibility that you can run a simulation before each race, which gives you idea how big is the fuel consumption for the race?
Not necessarily before the race. Most of it's still pretty old school. You got to look at your mileage during practice and make sure that's that looks the same as what the ECU and all the stuff from the engine shop says, and that stuff was spot on from the engine shop this week. And we felt good about our numbers all weekend long. We felt good about our car, and our guys up on the pit box have been pretty spot on for quite a few years for me as far as that stuff. And I felt really confident in what we had there.
Are there any additional questions for Rodney?
Yeah.
We'll go ahead in the back. Go ahead, press box.
Chris Knight, Catchfence.com. Rodney, I was just curious if you were surprised that Team Penske had the fuel issues that they did late in the race, having to pit 10 laps to go and then 3 laps to go, when none of the Stewart-Haas cars seem to have the same problem.
Well, I think there's a lot of different things going on there. Obviously it's just a different race team, and the second part of that is when the 22 put 2 tires on. Anytime the right side's jacked up, you can't get it full of gas. It looked like the 12 didn't wait long enough. It looked like the 2 didn't wait long enough. I've been in those situations, and I wasn't leaving the pit box until I wasn't going to tell him to go until I saw it like completely fill the tube, because I felt like that we were going to be really close. And to have a fast car and a guy that drives it that's aggressive and can keep the pedal down, you want to be in the situation where you got better. You need to be in a better situation at the end where he can just go hard. And those guys were trying to save gas, and it just worked out for us.
And we've also been joined by our race-winning driver, Keelan Harvick, driver of the Mobile 1 Ford for Stewart-Haas Racing. We will go ahead and take one last question for Rodney, and we'll keep this going.
Hi, Rodney. Jordan Hostic from Backstretch Banner. Obviously, with 2 wins in the past 4 races, do you feel like you and Kevin are finally hitting your stride at the right time in preparation for the playoffs coming up?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I still feel like it's a long time before the playoffs. We have a lot that we need to get better. We started the year off and our cars weren't where they needed to be, and we've continually got better and better. I think to be able to get a win on a 550 track and get a win on a 750 track, that says a lot about the race team right now. To sit on the pole at Pocono and to have speed there. We've definitely made gains on it. We're not perfect by any means, and we still got to get a lot better, but we're definitely in a lot better shape than we were at the beginning of the year.
We'll come on down here to Bob.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. Rodney, when you guys pit under green on lap 113, you took 4 tires, and then just 4 laps later under caution, you took 2 lefts. Was there some sort of concern on the lefts, or you just felt like, hey, we might need as much tire as we can late?
Yeah, we felt like that. He felt like he had a vibration, and we kept looking at the pit film, and Cheddar was trying to decide. We did have 1 lug nut missing, and so the other 4, you're just trying to watch that film in slow motion and to try to see the line on the socket, whether that line absolutely stopped on every single nut, and he felt like it only stopped on 3 of them. So at that point, you got to run the rest of the race, and we were kind of in a good situation where a lot of other people were going to come back down and pit again, the 18, the 19, some of those guys that we felt like were competition, and so coming back in and putting lefts on, was just about making sure that left front wheel was tight and that we weren't going to have to pit under under green. But also I think it helped our balance. It seemed like it turned better after that, and was able to just keep the gas down a little bit more than what we had all day, and end up being a good thing.
All right, Rodney, we'll let you go ahead and head out. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue with our questions. Please raise your hand if you have them. We'll get a mic over to you. We'll start right over here with Vedant.
Vedant Gupta, President, Global Kid Media. Mr. Harvick, you've had a lot of special moments here at the Speedway, meeting your wife, but also a lot of success here. Is there something specific about this Speedway that has helped you with your success?
Fast cars. You know, I think as I've been fortunate to come here through the years, you know, I think our guys on our team would probably tell you the same thing. We probably feel like we should have won just about every race we've come to since I've been at Stewart-Haas Racing when we've come to Michigan, and just one thing or another. And it seems like we've definitely got over that hurdle as we've run the last couple of years and been to victory lane. So it's been a racetrack, and it falls right into especially into the Ford wheelhouse from the engine standpoint, and our guys do a great job from a detail standpoint and just getting every possible thing out of the car that they can. And this is one of those weekends where they kind of turn you loose from the engine side and the oil side, and attitude of the car. I mean, everybody wants to do well for their manufacturer here, and you know, we've been fortunate to have a lot of fast cars.
Come over here to your left to Roy.
Yeah, Kevin, the last restart began, I think, with 52 laps to go. Did you feel like if you could get a long run the way your car was working, that you get around Joey into clean air and the race would pretty much play into your hands?
You know, I felt like the most important pass was the 2. I felt like if he got around those guys before I did, he'd be more difficult to pass. I felt like the 22 fell off a lot as we got into the second half of the run compared to our cars. So, you know, he did a good job of putting himself in the right spots when I was behind him, and eventually just kind of guessed wrong, and I was able to, you know, to get up underneath him there, coming through the middle of 3 and 4, and side draft and finish the pass. So it was definitely a, you know, I needed to get a good restart, and it's really, you know, it's kind of short-term everything. You need to have short-term memory when you get done with something and move on, and you know, on the restart, it's just one lap at a time, you know, and really one situation at a time to be able to try to put yourself in the best position that you can lap after lap.
We'll come over to your right to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net. 47 wins in Xfinity, 47 wins in Cup, and 14 in trucks. Through your career, you've had tons of other wins. Do you ever lose the excitement of getting a win? Like, I mean, obviously here today, you had Keelan here, you put him in the car. But is it always exciting going to victory lane?
You know, it's different than it used to be, and I guess there's a hard way to explain that. It's more of a satisfaction than it is an excitement, because it's an expectation, not a rare moment. You know, for me, putting him in the car was more exciting than winning the race. But those are moments that we share as father and son, you know, and I think as it's very gratifying as a team, just because I know where we started, I know how hard those guys have worked, and I get more satisfaction out of seeing those guys, you know, super excited and super happy about, you know, the things that we've been able to accomplish, because really that's what motivates me on a weekly basis is I know if I'm not ready to drive that car, I'd be letting every one of those guys down, because they put everything that they have into it day after day, 100%, and if you're not 100% ready and focused on what you need to be focused on, then it's a you know, you're gonna let somebody down on this team, because it's the other guy, every guy on the team doesn't want the guy next to let the guy next to him down, and that's really motivating, you know, for all of us, because no matter if it's a good day or a bad day. And I've told you guys this a few weeks ago, there's not a race that we show up to and unload the car, even if it's slow, that we don't think we can win. You know, that's just been the mindset. I mean, if we qualified 30th and you know, we get up on race day thinking that we can win a race somehow, some way, and then as you go, you adapt and adjust, and so confidence is not something that we lack.
We're going to come back over here to your left.
Steve Schweitzer of the Lasco Press. I've got a question for Keelan, if that's all right. You jumped out of your dad's car, you ran over there to the flag stand, you grabbed that checkered flag, and you waved it just like a professional. Who taught you how to do that, and have you been practicing?
A little in the bus, but not really often.
We have holes in the ceiling, scratches on the wall. He brought the flag from last year when I picked him up. When we met up, I had to go to an appearance, so he met me in Dearborn, and we went to the Tigers game on Thursday night. And we got back to the bus, and the flag was in there. I'm like, why in the world did you bring the flag? He's like, it's got to be good luck. So, we need to take 2 flags home. So you were right. Filled the tires up with air this morning. Tire guy, he's out. Firing him, right? Yep. Keelan's 2 for 2 airing the tires up. So he said that the tire guy, it's got to be him putting the air in the tires. So, so we had 2 flags and a new tire guy.
Well, next time leave a flag for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Or the Lions.
I will tell you, I've been to a lot of baseball stadiums, and I've never. That's one of the best experiences I've ever had at a baseball stadium. Those people were from one end of the stadium were great. Whether it was at the hot dog stand or at the beer stand or at the front gate or the carousel. We rode around on the carousel. Rode around. So it was a really great experience.
We're going to go all the way to the back and then over to the left to Taylor and then down here to Chris.
By the way, we could use them at Ford Field for the Lions too.
Yeah.
Just to say, yeah. You said the strategy you liked about the fast track here. There's also seemed to be a strategy to conserve your fuel because right at the end you ran right out. You ran on fumes there. Was that the strategy with the pit crew too and your chief there to try to catch up and keep that distance and then stay consistent and then get that lead?
Yeah, well, they told me that we didn't have any issues on fuel. They told me we were a lap or 2 to the good, so I really wasn't conserving fuel at all. And then once we got the lead, there was really no reason to really press it. So, we just kind of backed off there a little bit to back off and make sure that everything was good. There was no reason to screw it up at that point. So, yeah, I mean, everybody felt like we were in good shape. And I think when, the race was over, we drove around down pit lane. We did some burnouts, drove it back to the garage, and it was still running. So I think we were good.
We're going to go back to Taylor and then down here to Chris and Bob.
Taylor DeSormo with MLive.com. Wanted to ask a little bit about the post-race celebration. Is that the first time that you've taken Keelan for a burnout and some donuts? I heard that maybe he had a helmet on. Can you walk me through what that's like for you as a father?
Well, I think for me as a dad, it's probably the coolest thing that you could ever do. I mean, this is my job, and a lot of people don't realize how family-oriented NASCAR racing really is, and he comes with me all summer. It's the same thing we've done for the past few years, and this year we didn't wreck any golf carts or tear anything up at the golf course, so we just played golf. He still drove, but we didn't crash. So it's for me it's making those memories and to be able to do that with him and heck, he may never get to do a donut in his life or hear 40,000-50,000 people screaming and yelling and that enthusiasm of the excitement from the crowd and so those are neat experiences that most kids don't get to experience, but most kids' dads don't race cars. And for me to be able to share that with him is pretty neat, and for NASCAR to let us do that and make those memories is also pretty awesome. So it's been a lot of fun to be able to do that the last 2 years, and so obviously we have fun pretty much anywhere we go.
We'll come down to Chris and then Bob and then up to the press box.
Kevin, all 3 of your wins here at MIS have been in August. Is there something about being later in the schedule, more of a sense of urgency, or you always feel like you run well, I'm sure, but just winning?
A coincidence. I mean, I don't have a better answer than that. I would say it's really just a coincidence more than anything.
There's no sense of urgency this late in the season or nothing like that?
No, I can't even make that into a good story for you. I'm trying, but it's really just a coincidence, honestly. And when you're talking to me, it's like, I'm not going to get super wound up about much anymore, just because it's just not I don't have the capacity to overthink it. Sorry.
Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. You said you don't get wound up. Were you wound up at all when you had the punctured tire and this being you'd say it was going to be a track position race? Were there any concerns like, oh my gosh, we're never going to get that track position back?
I knew I had a problem going down the backstretch, and I knew that I needed to just slow down and figure out what was going on. And obviously the tire was flat, and I had a hard time getting slowed down enough to get it to the bottom of the racetrack. And my main concern was just not grinding the splitter off. If the splitter was gone, we would have been done. So, I mean, I just, once I got it under control, I told him, Timmy told him we had a problem, and I wanted to make sure I got to the bottom of the racetrack without hitting another car and get to pit road speed. And once I got there, I just told them I had a flat right front tire. They put 2 right sides on it and put it back on, and we kept going. And that was literally the extent of the conversation. And we moved on. They told me it had a cut in it, and it went all the way through the tire. And we never talked about it again for the rest of the day. So it's kind of, I told you guys on Friday, the radio button is poison, so I try not to use it. I mean, at that point, it didn't matter. You know, I don't tend to worry about much. You adapt to the situation, and you try to do the best that you can in making your scenario as good as you can. So, we don't get super excited about much, because there's going to be stuff happen, and you have to realize that in this sport. You're going to go through phases of things happening and things not happening, and good luck and bad luck. And you know, on this particular day, it was a flat tire and a loose wheel. And luckily, those scenarios wound up in good circumstances for us. So we went from second to sixth, and you know, it didn't really hurt us. And you know, with the third lane opening up today, and our car would handle in the third lane, the second lane, the first lane. If they would block the top, I'd run the middle. If they blocked the middle, I'd run the bottom. If they blocked the bottom and the middle, I'd run the top. I could run anywhere on the racetrack on both ends of the racetrack. And so I think the third lane, you know, definitely gave us more options to make passes. And I think, you know, for us, it definitely helped us make the passes at the end.
We'll go ahead and take those questions in the press box.
Yeah. Chris9catchfence.com. Kevin, you said during the post-race show that you were nursing a shoulder injury for the last 2 months. At any point, did it become uncomfortable in the race car, and how is it now?
I'd say it's probably 80% now. I mean, there was a point when I went to Sonoma that I couldn't even lift it up. So, you know, it feels better in the race car than it does. The worst thing I had to do in the race car was shift. So my main concern was Watkins Glen, but you know, we got through it, and you know, it's getting close to being back where it needs to be. But it was definitely uncomfortable. The load that these cars put on it is right next to right in the spot where it's not feeling well. So all the load from your shoulder is where it's been injured, and so it's so yeah, but it's fine.
We have a question in the back, and then we'll come down to Dustin.
Eric Young with the superspeedway.com. Kevin, you said on Friday that you were 5 years old, I think, when you started racing.
Yeah.
Keelan's 7. Has he done anything? Have you thought about doing anything? Any plans there?
He's got a go-kart that he drives. He quit baseball so he could go drive it more this fall, so I guess we're going to be going to the go-kart track more.
Dustin?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. With you talking about being able to move in different lanes today, and especially the third lane, obviously with the PJ1 being widened by a couple of feet, had that not been done, how would that have impacted your ability to move up to that?
I think it would have been more difficult. You know, I think, you know, in practice we saw some guys up there, but it was kind of sketchy. Truck race was kind of sketchy, and I think moving it down those 2 feet, I think everybody didn't want it to be the preferred lane. I think everybody wanted the lane to be equal to, you know, so that you could use that third lane if your car was handling well and make it as equal as possible to the second lane. So, you know, obviously Goodyear was really nervous about making that the preferred lane. And I think that Jerry and NASCAR and I told Jim Francis after the race that we just appreciate the fact that they took the time to do what they did. I mean, the fifth lane is not going to be something that we use, but they took the time to do that. And you know, I think as we went through the race today, I mean, we got fairly high in turn 3 and 4 on the exit. So I don't think it would have been near as effective if we didn't move it down those last couple feet. So it was definitely a lot of work for them overnight. But you know, I think seeing that ISC is taking that initiative, and I think everybody, it's evolving, you know, as fast as the cars, and I think everybody sees the benefit of the racing when we have more lanes to be able to go to and make passes so that the faster cars can work their, on a day when you have the fastest car, you can work your way to the front by having a good handling car, and utilize different lanes, and it just, you know, when you have a 50% chance of blocking somebody because you have 2 lanes, you know, it's just not, it's most of the time the guy in front of you is going to guess, you know, somewhat right, and if not, he's going to use the high lane and have the big arc in there, and it's not going to be possible anyway. But you know, I think opening up that third lane definitely was a benefit, and now it's burned in. You know, so it should be a good step and evolution forward as we come back to Michigan next time, because everybody knows what we did and where we hit the PJ1 on the entrance, where we hit it on the exit. If we don't want to hit it there, then we can shorten that PJ1 up. It's a good thing, and I think you're going to see it. I would assume you're going to see it at several of the racetracks as we go towards the end of the year here.
Also, and I understand having fast cars is a significant thing, but you have certainly had, you know, a strong performance in the last few years, but particularly the last couple of years, even at an age where it starts to become statistically, drivers maybe don't have as strong as seasons, or it starts to get on maybe the downside. How do you feel like you have been able to not fall into that point at this point? I mean, I understand the fast cars help, but what are you able to do, or what are you different in maybe the last couple of years?
I feel like I'm, you know, for me, it's being in the right spot, being motivated, and just having your stuff together. You know, Delaney and I we're organized. We can manage life, and we always concentrate on that circle of life to make sure that, you know, racing is good, personal life has to be good, kids have to be good, and, you know, financially you have to have everything situated, and that stuff has to all be rolling. And, you know, I feel like, you know, having the management company and the people that we've had around us for a long time helps us be more organized to navigate the grind of the sport. I think the grind of the sport is what knocks the wind out of everybody. You know, there have been some injuries of certain guys that have not gone on, but, you know, I feel like we're as organized as anybody in the sport, probably as good as anybody in the sport. And I think that being able to, you know, not have the hassle of having too much to do. You have a lot to do, but, you know, we're very organized in managing those things from piece by piece in order to concentrate on the racing part of it and give that enough time to be able to do the things that you need to do to be prepped for the racetrack. So I like coming to the racetrack. I like you know, beating the guy next to me. And, you know, for me, it's like I said earlier, I feel like the biggest motivation that I have is letting all the guys on my team down, because I know they're 100% all in. And for me, I don't like letting people down, and I feel like you know, managing the chaos and having less chaos has been very beneficial for me mentally. And, you know, I feel like mentally and physically just in a good spot from life in general, and it just helps you manage what we have to do here.
We're going to go to Bob and then wrap up with Vedant.
Bob Packers, Fox Sports. Was your shoulder injury a racing injury? I'm trying to think. It was okay. It was a son.
Throwing a Nerf baseball at him.
You threw out your arm throwing a Nerf baseball?
Mm-hmm. Careful, Bob.
We'll go to Vedant.
Keelan, I got a question for you. What's been the best part for you about Dad's win today, and what is one more thing you want to do today?
I want to spray him.
I threatened him. He loves Gatorade. So we were standing in Victory Lane, and I saw the Gatorade. I said, look, you can have some Gatorade, but if you spray one drop of that on me, you're going to be in trouble because it's sticky. So, yeah.
You're already sticky.
Yeah, but that's not happening. We aren't spraying Gatorade. It'll be in my ears, up my nose. I've been down this road before at the Victory Junction camp. I've come home with spaghetti in my ears, whatever else they spray on you, but we had fun. You get sprayed off with a fire hose when you're done at the camp. So we don't need that.
All right. Well, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Baseball.